You know what? Let's roll it back. We missed out on the Mankato series. I think that's real important because that was a step in the right direction. I think Mankato is one of the better teams in the league and have been for about 10 years. And we went on the road, and the first game, the chances were even right across the board. And again, we had difficulty scoring, but we played a real solid 60 minutes of hockey. We just told our guys stick with it, keep playing. It was more of a defensive battle. There wasn't a whole lot of quality chances either way. But the next night, it was a similar type game. They're up, I think it was 1-0, and then we scored one in the third period, and then obviously we had two grade A looks. I think Graydon Slippick had a great look in overtime where we could have finished it and got the full win, but then we ended up winning in a shootout, which was nice. I think it was a good feeling for our guys going into the break to win a game, even though it was a shootout. It just gave our guys more energy going into the break, and then during the break, the guys did a good job. We did a lot of competing stuff, kept their game conditioning alive, end up kind of having a 3-on-3 competition on a Saturday, and that went over really well. And the week leading up to Augustana, I thought it was a great week of practice. We had a little bit more grind to it. And then going into Friday, we all felt good. Our legs felt good. We thought we had some jump, but I didn't like our first period. Didn't like it at all. And then they're up, I think, 2-0. And then once we got that first goal to cut the lead 2-1, we're doing some good things. And then right after that, I thought we showed a little bit of youth in us, how to handle success, thinking it was going to be easy. Okay, we're going to score another goal to tie the game, and it went the other way. And our quality play, I thought, went like this. And then after that, we just couldn't claw our way back in. Credit to Augustana. They were the much better team, I thought, on Friday. And then Saturday, the guys were challenged. We told them why we didn't like after we cut the lead on Friday night. And then our first period Saturday night against Augustana was probably our best period of the year. And leading into the second period, the first 10 minutes were really good. I think the shots were 19-7. We were controlling all parts of the game but one, and that was the scoreboard. And they're up 2-0. So it goes back to the same conversations we've been all having. We're having difficulty scoring. We're going to have to continue to stick with it. And sooner or later, those pucks are start falling in for us. And I think a big part of that is we got to get a little bit more traffic in front of that, playing the inside of the ice. And if we do that, they'll start going in for us. So the positives were, Mike, I would like to build upon that first period. If we have a blueprint of how we have to play and what our identity is, that's what it was. First period on Saturday night against Augustana on the road.
When do you know immediately as you're looking at the game on the bench when a grade A opportunity is, or do you have to go back most of the time to look at the video afterwards?
No, I think on the bench, we got three coaches on the bench, and we got somebody up top. So we know right away if it's a grade A or not. And then, if you want to look at it again, you can look at it in between periods. So we measure those throughout the game. We just don't look at the shot total. We look at the quality chances. Are we getting to the inside of the ice, creating those type of chances? And both nights against Augustana, they were pretty much even. I think we won the second night. They might have won the first night by two shots, two grade A's. So that's pretty evenly matched. What they did better is they converted on their chances, and that's been part of our thing. We're a young team still making the transition into college hockey and how to finish more plays off.
Well, thought about this week.
Yeah, again, we had those questions. What do we got to do to beat Ferris? And to us, it's about we got to concentrate on us and becoming more consistent in how we have to play. It just can't be segments. It can't be one period. It's got to be a total 60 minutes. We've got to play to our identity. We still got to get to the inside of the ice a little bit more often, Mike, and in front of the net. I think we're allowing opposing goalies to see the puck too much. So we got to do a better job taking away eyes. And if we do that consistently, like I said, I think the results will start coming, but it's always been about getting better. It's been getting better. And we've had to deal with a lot of injuries too. We're still kind of tinkering with our lineup, who has chemistry with who. And I don't know if we've had a full array of healthy bodies maybe since the first 2 weeks. So, but you know what? In saying that, it's the next man up. And whoever we give the opportunity has got those minutes to see what he can do. But our guys are working hard. They're competing hard. We just got to be consistent what we're doing.
This one's not a hard one at all, but say something nice about Bob Daniels. He got the 500 at a program that's okay. It's done well. It's had its ups and downs, but he's persevered.
You know what? Number one, he's a great person, really good person. He's been doing it a long time. Players love him. He's done a lot for that university to put him on the map. I mean, years ago, obviously, they went to the Final Four. I remember Chris Kunitz obviously played in the NHL. They had a heck of a hockey team. And, it can be challenging in places like Ferris, just like Northern and other programs. And anybody who's coached that long in one place says a lot about him as a person, how well he is respected.
You get the win against Concordia. Not completely happy with the result, but you get the win at home and an important one headed into conference this week.
Yeah, we've kind of. I have not liked. I thought the first weekend we were awesome. I thought we played great against Michigan State, and then I have not liked the last 3 weeks. Really, I didn't think we played very well against Springfield. Obviously, we lose two at the Minnesota schools who are really good, and then squeak by a D3 school. Saying that, we kind of have held serve, like 4-2 with where we're at, and the 2 losses are both going to be to tournament teams on the road that aren't in region. Like we haven't done anything that screwed up our season by any means, and if anything, we're on track or ahead of track of where we've been the past 2 years. It's just that we need to play better if we're going to stay on track, and obviously heading into conference play, you need to be playing your best, and it can go 2 ways. Sometimes when you're struggling, you come out of it better, and sometimes you stay struggling. So it's gonna be interesting, but we need that kind of flip to us playing well if we're gonna have the kind of season we hope to have.
In terms of development of your newer players, any surprises? I mean, Julian's played quite well.
Yeah. I think I don't think anything surprised me. I also don't. I'm not overreading into all the results yet. I think one of the problems with college, probably sports in general, but for sure basketball versus say pro basketball, is the sample sizes are so small, and you can make too rush judgments early in seasons on individual players, maybe not on teams, but and for instance, like Gerald's been in practice, awesome, just hasn't quite translated to the games yet. Biggie and Derek have had moments, but Julian's been by far the most consistent. He's been a great leader. He's done everything we've asked. He's been awesome. But I also think it's kind of the nature of this year's team, probably a little bit the nature of the portal. I think there's going to be little mini runs for individuals throughout the year. And the key for us as a team is just trying to sync up all that stuff. Because I think that's the most difficult part is we can have a practice where it's pretty clear that our offense is flowing through Gerald. And then maybe the next day it's Brian. And then we get into a game and we got to run stuff through Julian because he's going. Obviously, we know we have Dylan, but balancing those guards a little bit better is something that I haven't done a great job of. And I think we're still searching a little bit for how to mesh the talent we have into a cohesive team.
Thought about PNW.
Yeah, they're really talented. Similar to us in some ways. They have a couple guys back and then a bunch of new faces. Their guards are, 13, 13, and 17. So their 3-headed guard unit is really hard to guard, and they play fast. And one's a D1 transfer, one's a really successful D2 transfer. So they're guys that are good players. They have not also put it together yet. Their one win was against the number 12 ranked team in the country. And then they've had some bad losses in there. So, and then they just beat a Division III school as well. So they're up to 2. But they can be that good, and they can, obviously struggle at times. And it's going to be kind of up to us to, the first game of conference, weird things always happen, not let their talent take over and their guards get going and all that stuff.
Coach, opening at home for conference versus on the road, it's got to be kind of a comfortable feeling. I know we talked about after the Concordia game, making Vandament feel like home.
Yeah.
This weekend, a good weekend to do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about it. And I think, you always want, you always want those conference home games because they always feel a little more significant. And do I love that we're against the Packers and Lions on Thursday night? Probably not ideal for our crowd on Thursday, but I think we'll still have a decent group there. And then Saturday, we need to get as many people there as possible. I think Saturday's games are really important, as are Thursdays. But Saturday, the women and the men, those are gonna be big games. And I kind of get the Packers Lions thing, but Saturday we're hoping to have that thing packed as full as we can get it. So looking forward to seeing what that looks and feels like, because the crowds so far for both men's and women's have been really good, considering we haven't played one of those like marquee non-conference names or anything like that, and we haven't had double headers yet. So I'm really curious and excited to see what the crowds will look like this weekend and what that place feels like with a bunch of people in it.
And then Coach kind of talked about this too. The accomplishment for Dylan
Yeah.
against Concordia. I mean, we talked about there potential be his number up on the wall one day. For him to do that and for you to see him develop as a player and now as a leader, what's that been like?
Yeah, it's really fun because you get to see he was when I got the job, one of the first things I did was I drove to Dylan's house, which was Justin Keel's house in my mind at that time, and Dylan like walked up the steps like a baby deer, and I think I gave him one of those like condescending like, oh, maybe one day you could play for Northern too, buddy, like which again is funny because turns out he was pretty good. But and obviously Justin coming here early on, he was our first recruit to commit when I got the job. He was part of laying the foundation. Then Dylan comes in kind of as that's starting and really is a huge reason for the spike. And he's gone through his first year he would have probably started or played a ton, and he gets hurt, and so he has to medical redshirt his first year. And then he's battled some other illnesses and injuries throughout his off seasons, and he just shows up every day. He's been good. He's been great last year. I think I think from what I know, he finished second to Maxim Player of the Year. So if it wouldn't have been our one guy, it would have been our other guy. He was the only all-region guy in our conference besides Max. So he's just been tremendously good for 2 years, and now it's kind of his team, and it's been fun to just watch how he's been the same person in that he hasn't gotten any different as a person, but he's gotten more confident, and it's been kind of interesting to just see how he's handled that. And I think he's handled all of his success in the perfect way, where I think he's maybe more humble than ever. He's shy, and he doesn't ever want to do stuff like this because it's just not who he is. He just wants to play basketball, have fun, hang out with his friends, and I really appreciate that about him. And it's nice knowing you have him on your side in those tight games.
Is he demanding the ball more?
He needs to do a better job of it, and then more importantly, I have to do a better job of demanding that we throw him the ball. I think one of the hard parts about Dylan uniquely versus other star players is, a big guy's really simple. You throw it to him inside. A guard's really simple. You either give him space or set a ball screen for him. A shooter, you set off-ball screens for him. He's good at all those things, but he's not elite at any one of those things. And so much of it's matchup based. Like sometimes it's like we got to feed him inside. Sometimes we need to give him space on the perimeter. And so you come up with game plans for him, but within the game, it kind of takes on a life of itself. And what he's the best at is like a lot of good players, like Giannis is like this. If we can get him the ball in random spots, transition off of rolls, he's the best play ender by far in the league and maybe in the country to end a play. So it's kind of up to everyone to just find him, because when he does have that crease on a roll or that crease in transition, like the ball needs to be there, because if he gets that, he's going to finish it. So it's a balance of all of us kind of making sure every game he's getting his 12 to 14 shots and knowing that they might not come in one exact way, which does give some freedom to the other guys because they don't need to stop and stare at him either. It's just as we're playing free-flowing basketball, we always need to have a little special attention to if he's open, that one we can't not see. We got to find him every time.
Everything is still coming up roses.
We're still very happy, yes, with everything.
How have you gotten to this point besides everybody kind of contributing?
That's a big part. It's a full team effort. When you got 6 games that you're in and you got 3 different leading scorers, you got people with different rebounding leaders. You got people who are throwing out assists all over the place. I mean, it's a little bit of everybody, and I think that's what contributes to our success so far. We're gonna need everybody to contribute going down the stretch too here and opening up for the GLIAC, but I'm very happy. The cool thing too is our bench. No matter who's on our bench, if it's our starters or our non-starters, people are just happy for each other and thrilled for each other. I mean, it's a complete team, which is really fun to see.
And of course, this always changes during the year, but have you kind of figured out your substitution pattern yet within reason?
Kind of, yes and no. We're still dealing with some injuries and people coming back with stuff and figuring things out there, but we got a good thing going right now. So, if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. You don't have to worry about it right now. So, we're just gonna keep plugging away each and every game and kind of see what it tails with the foul trouble or whatever else happens. But again, everyone's ready to go and everybody's itching to get on the court, which is fun.
Well, you got Purdue Northwest first. Talk about them.
Yeah, new coach. Then a lot of new players. So we are studying them up a little bit. They're 3-3 right now. They beat some good teams. They're competing. It's gonna be a different kind of style, I think, than what they've been playing in the past. But that they got some grad transfers that are really putting up points and that can put them up fast. So our defense has got to be locked in. They're shooting very well from the three, and you never know what's going to happen with that. So our defense has got to be good and ready to go for sure for Purdue Northwest.
And then, Coach, comfortable feeling to open conference at home versus on the road, especially because these two games are a little bit different because they're separate from all the rest.
Yep. And it's exciting just to be back in the Vandeman again. We had our first two games that we had non-conference in there. It was a great showing. We had a great crowd support. Makes it really fun. It was an awesome environment. The band came over for 2 games too, which is also, they just create a whole new jazz in a smaller arena. It gets loud and it's fun. And so we're excited just to be back at home. And it's one day at a time, but we got to practice in there every day too, which is huge.
Has it been a different feeling, kind of adjusting to going from playing in the Barry to now playing in this smaller arena? The routine, has it changed? How is the team? How have you kind of adjusted to being such a cool environment now?
Yeah, it's an awesome environment. And I think our team is excited just because what it brings with the people being right there on top of you. They're in the game every time, and the momentum of what happens. But a lot of it too, I think, is our bench is really loud this year. You hear them all the time, and they're ready to go. But I think we really like being able to practice in there each and every day, getting up shots, getting used to the environment. We're shooting the ball pretty well as a whole, and I think we need to continue to do that. But getting the reps, and it's interesting because they have access to it almost all the time. So. They're in there a lot, and it's more we have to kick them out of the gym and be like, okay, go home, go rest, go study. But they want to be in there, which is huge.
Cross country is done. You're getting ready for the indoor half of the track. What's it like trying to go from one to the other?
Yeah, busy, but good, exciting. Yeah, I mean, we have that whole other group besides the cross country group that now will be distance runners in track. But we have, the sprinters, jumpers, hurdlers, multi-throwers, pole vaulters. They've been training all fall, so they're actually really excited to have. So we're gonna go to our first meet this weekend, and so down at Oshkosh. So that whole group will get to see where all the hard work they've put in all fall, see where they're at. Most of the distance runners, the ones that ran cross country, will not go to this meet since they raced all fall. They took a little break, and now we're kind of rebuilding the base and getting ready for the rest of the season. That starts a little bit more like in January. But this group will get a chance to see where we're at, and then kind of adjust into what we got to do the rest once we through the winter break, and then after we come back and get ready for the rest of the indoor season.
How hard is it when you're traveling for indoor season to go into the cold weather, go into a warm building, and warm up properly?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, especially at some of the facilities. There's just so little space, and there's a ton of teams in a small space. But usually they, like Saginaw has a whole separate, they have their older track that we can warm up in, which is really nice. And sometimes it's the hallways of the facility to warm up, and it's definitely challenging. But the nice thing about indoor then is you're competing and the weather's always the same. There's no wind, there's no snow, there's no rain. So it's, so, you know, that in that way, it's great. But it's challenging. I mean, it's a constant change for sure. And then, you know, here, the distance runners, especially for the longer runs, we run outside in the snow and then do the workouts inside. And so it's a challenge actually.
How, what are the differences between the buildings? And how do you prepare for each one? Or does that not matter at all?
It is different, and you know, so there are 200-meter tracks, and now there are the few that have 300-meter tracks. So both Saginaw and Grand Valley have 300. So that's different, and then ours is a 200-meter, and then we also have to do a lot of our workouts on the turf at times, and you know, some of the rollout tracks. So yeah, it's challenging. So just getting, you know, I guess them just knowing that it's always going to be changing. We kind of talk about how, you know, that you have adversity all the time. But just we get used to like the splits that they need to do for 200 meters and, you know, for the distance kids. And then the kids, they work on, you know, all the little parts of the starts, the blocks, the shorter approaches and everything they do with all the events. We have a nice pole vault. We do have the long jump pit that's outside of the turf now. So, you know, we're able to practice all of that. But yeah, every facility is different. And so, you just go in and you know, kind of they're prepared for your event and then just do the best you can.
And then, coach, when you're juggling different temperatures, you know, the cold, the warm, the hot, stuff like that, how important does it become to take care of, you know, their bodies, what they're eating, getting the right amount of sleep, all that stuff?
Yeah, for sure. It's challenging. And now, you know, we are into winter, so it's just making sure they get enough rest. And then right after they work out, you know, we always talk about eating something right away, get that nutrition in that first 30 minutes, and then, you know, taking a hot shower, recovering, because that's a big part of it. And yeah, especially because of where we are, they're going in and out of the bad weather.
We didn't do anything last weekend.
Okay, so that's why I don't remember.
So I can tell you that we are gearing up to go to one of our most important meets of the year. We leave tomorrow for the Calvin College Winter Invite, which for swimming, it's kind of one of those sports that, you know, you work hard, and then you get to rest in this taper period, and then put on these fast suits and be in a fast pool and shave down and get ready to go. So you don't get that many opportunities to do that very often. So this is our first opportunity this season, and they're pretty excited about going. We've had some nice days where, you know, maybe a 2-hour practice is now an hour and a half, and a couple sleep-in mornings. And so we're really excited to see what they can do. They're in a really good spot. But this meet typically too is one if trying to get some NCAA cuts and some relay cuts. So we're looking forward to seeing what they can do. We have some divers that are back from injury, and so we're hoping they can get their NCAA cuts because it's a big diving meet as well. Yeah.
How important is it to have the week off before?
It is really important. I know a lot of swim teams do this mid-season rest meet. They all have this mid-season rest meet, this one meet where they get, you know, before Christmas break and for the winter break. And a lot of them do it the week before Thanksgiving, the weekend before. But what we've found is that having that week of rest where either, you know, we train for a few days and then if they go home, they can go home, and some stay on campus. But to really kind of not have school and just unplug and sleep in and not have any other stresses, I think really sets them up for their body to recover and get ready to go. So we've always found that it is better the weekend after. It can be a little bit stressful on the school side because they come back to finals and they miss kind of the couple last days of classes. But, you know, we've talked about it all season and prepped them for it, and they have conversations with their teachers. But I found that it really helps to have that rest. Yeah, for sure.
And then, coach, kind of looking at the schedule, just
Yeah.
10 a.m., 6 p.m.
Yeah.
Is it kind of a crazy weekend, or does it kind
It's really busy and really, really crazy and pretty intense because there's a lot of nerves too. You know, they're kind of excited. Some of them haven't rested since March or February, you know, so it's kind of that getting those nerves out as well. It's a prelim final meet. So what they do is they swim in the morning and then they have to place so high. The top 8 is in the final heat. They have this meet. The good thing about this meet is they actually have like A, B, and C finals in some races. So we like to go to this one because a lot of them have that experience of, okay, you got to race hard in the morning to make it back either top 8 or top 16 at night. And then you have an opportunity to move up at night. So they kind of have to do that race twice. It's a lot of strategizing for them, like when to fuel, when to rest between prelims and finals, when to warm up, because they're all kind of they're all doing different things, right? Different events and different timing, and maybe a relay, and where's that break, and that kind of stuff. So there's lots of it's a really busy day for sure. Yeah.
Anybody we should be thinking about in terms of who's been doing well lately?
Yeah, well, we're. I think I'm really excited to see what Will LeCount will do on the men's side. I am also very excited to see one of our freshman divers who hasn't competed yet is cleared to dive. So I'm excited to see what he does. I think he will be. He seems like a competitor. I think he's going to do well on the boards. On the women's side, I think our group of senior women is just being such strong leaders, and they have really just look like they're confident and relaxed and going into this meet with a good headset and mindset. And I'm hoping like the younger athletes who I can tell right now are like a little bit nervous and, we'll take from that, like, as we say, the hay's in the barn, all the work is done. They can't, there's nothing else to do but rest and just get yourself in a good positive mindset and everything else will take care of itself.